You're in a place in which I rant. This rant is for Anime Watcher who wants me to talk about how it feels to be skilled at a passion that you're interested in without moving to anything that you find instantly gratifying. And I find this question a little bit weird. I don't know if I like the premise of it very much because in my mind, the passion that I have is instantly gratifying in the sense that I enjoy the beginning process of trying to find out what the ideas are. I enjoy, if it's a written post, trying to figure out how to structure it, what the sentences will be, what it will consist of, and how I'm going to be able to convey my point. I think all of those things are really fun and interesting, and partly how I've structured this interest that I have, to take writing, for example, is to write all the time as well as to have it be in a stream of consciousness format and then lightly go back over what the post was. When I first started out really writing in late mid 2016 ish and I wanted to practice more, I had a blog at the time and I tried to make it a goal to write at least one thing each day. And as I continued doing that throughout the course of 2016 as well as 2017 and of course 2018, I noticed my skill level steadily climbing up. I noticed myself getting faster, specifically because I tried to hone in the fast element of it, the fact that I wanted to have it be done at a quicker pace in order to be able to work more detail back into it. And of course, as time went on, I noticed myself taking larger breaks due to outside forces. But when I really had time to make sure that I was getting out something once a day, that I was brimming with more ideas, that my pace was increasing, and that I recognized how to be more interesting, etc., those were all instantly gratifying things the better I got at it. Where I noticed that once a post got done, and the quicker I got a post done, the more I enjoyed doing it, and the more I noticed myself liking the process. But in the beginning, it was more of a struggle where I liked doing it, but a lot of the time I questioned as to whether or not I did because I spent so much time focusing on the negative aspects of my writing where there's going to be at least a couple years where you're just dealing with the fact that your writing is bad and that you don't like what the writing is, but you have to be able to find fun in at least parts of it, to find a positive perspective on at least parts of it, or else why are you doing it? And so there is going to be a time, at least a small time, most likely a pretty substantial piece of time, in which you are not enjoying the process per se because you're going to have to arduously look back over or, move to the next post because the one you did was so disgustingly bad. It happens to everybody. But the fact that you did continue doing it, I think, is a sign of enjoying it up to that point on some level, or else you would have given up outright. And so it's important to find the things in it that you do enjoy and to ask yourself why you're doing it. I don't think someone should write something or make any kind of thing without knowing why they're making it. We should approach these things with, I really have this good idea and I want to do it, not, I want to make something for the sake of making things. And so every time I wrote something, I always came at it with the approach of, what is this idea? How can I write about this idea? What do I have to say about this? And eventually, when you start producing things that you do like, it feels really gratifying. I know that with certain posts that I've made, a lot of my better ones, I look at them sometimes and I think back, wow, I used to be a person who spent every waking moment of my life thinking, man, my writing is just terrible. I wish I could be better at it. And then I made enough things to eventually be better enough at it to at least produce something that I was happy with. In no way am I a good or even great writer, but there are things that I've written that are good. And so, because of that, I can look at them and I can point to them and say, yeah, yeah, I did that. And it feels really cathartic. It feels empowering. Like a great burden has been lifted off your shoulders. Like you've put in all this work and time into doing something that you wanted to be able to do. And that part's really special. But in order to keep doing it, you kind of have to make yourself susceptible to the smaller pleasures within it, where you may have a lot of days where you feel really bad and you may not want to do it because of how bad the post is, but you have to notice the good things. You have to focus on them, and it's ultimately those smaller good things that are going to keep you going to eventually get to the really big good thing. As with vlogs, I like my vlogs, but I don't think I'm necessarily skilled at them. You can find a lot of speech patterns that I have that are just irregular and interrupt the flow of the video, and I'm probably going to have a number of those speech patterns for a very, very long time, if not forever. I find myself repeating a lot of words. I find myself, like, my speech gets interrupted, and I have just strange speech patterns. Like, the more you listen back to my voice, you start to notice that there's little things that I keep doing that normal people don't do when they talk, but I do them. And I used to be much, much worse about it. I've taught myself how to get those things out, but there's certain things about the way that I talk that I think I'm always just going to have a problem with. But I've kind of taught myself how to talk better for a YouTube video. But it's not skilled, it's not perfect. There are instances, this is the thing I think about my content, is that there are instances where I make something really good at the spur of the moment when I get really heightened emotions and I just want to make something. And sometimes the emotions manifest themselves into something special, but that's like a one in a lifetime thing. It's catching lightning in a bottle, where sometimes I feel just in the right mood to be able to sit down and tell you why school is terrible, and then the video comes out completely clean and clear. And part of that is years of practicing at projecting my voice, where I wouldn't have been able to do that otherwise. And then the other part is the stars aligning just the right amount to where I really felt passionate and I was thinking a lot about this subject for a long enough time that I had enough of the information just on hand in my mind. So there's a number of factors that end up leading to that. But I know that I can produce at least a consistently decent video. But to say that, like, I'm skilled at it, to say that I have, that my videos are skilled, I don't know if I would agree with that. Where, like, I can look at certain videos I've made, like the These Four Walls videos, the first one and its sequel, or I can look at certain vlogs that I've made that I really like. But to say that the overall body of my work is skilled, I really don't think it is. I'm kind of just throwing everything I can at the wall and then seeing what sticks. One of the biggest criticisms I've always had of my content is the lack of consistency, is that I can have really good videos and then you look at the rest of them and they're just kind of me rambling on. And some people really like that, and I'm glad some people like that. I enjoy the spirit of my own content, and I'm happy with it, but there's so many surmounting flaws that I find that it's difficult for me to say that I'm skilled. And so that's part of being a creator, is that you never really feel that you're skilled until a long time after you've been producing things. It's a constant struggle. People don't get into making things because they think it's going to be easy. They get into making things because they like doing it, and the fact that they like doing it is enough to put up with the other constant struggles that are involved. Where when I produce these vlogs, these vlogs aren't representative of some kind of huge predicament where I just oh God, I can't do it, blah blah blah. Uh, my writing is more of a struggle. With my vlogs, it's just something that I do, and I've happened to do it enough times for people to enjoy it. And it used to be really difficult for me to vlog in 2015, 2016, but it was just a matter of doing it enough times to be able to get over the negative aspects. And that's not too difficult. You just sit down and you do it enough times. Um, and it was a struggle for me emotionally at the time because of self-esteem issues. Um, but saying that I'm skilled, I don't know. It's just it's difficult for me to say that I am. I don't think I am. Um, I just happen to speak for long enough that people enjoyed listening to it. Like all of the ideas that I put out in videos tend to be things that I was thinking about otherwise. Like when I turn on the camera, I just go. I don't really have a plan in mind. They're just things that I've been thinking about or maybe things that I haven't been thinking about and I just say them. And I've been doing this for about 5 years now, really over 5 years because of the Minecraft channel I started in 2013 and went up through 2014, and then I started this one in early 2015, February. So it looks more like 7 years almost that I've been doing this, and part of doing it for that long is being able to make something out of nothing, being able to just out of thin air have things to say. Especially when you've made as many videos as I have, like I have streams where I talk for 7 hours. I have a playlist where I have over 1,000 videos, and that's not even all of them. That's not even counting the hundreds that are lost or not uploaded or deleted somewhere, or the even more hundreds of home videos that I used to make. So it's just an insane amount of practice, and it feels good in the sense that I can enjoy my own work. I can look at the videos that I've made and I can go, oh yeah, that was a decent video. I can watch this. Hey, I finally expressed the thing that I've been looking for on YouTube all this time. That's good. Now I can go fill another void. I don't really linger very much on the things that I've made. I think that's one of the reasons why it's difficult to answer a question like this, is that once I make something, I'm on to the next thing. I don't think about the thing that I make after I've made it. I'm immediately on to the next thing that I want to make. Because if you sit there and you allow yourself to think about something that's essentially dead, once it's been created, it's dead. You can't move on from there. You're not going to be able to edit it. It's uploaded. It's there. It's time to move on to something else so you can make it better. So I don't know. It's doing all of this is just a hobby for me. Like you could call it a passion in a certain sense, but the reason I make these things is because I like doing them. I've always liked doing them to a certain extent. It's more difficult to see that you like it when you're bad at it, and you focus more on the negative parts at that point. But when you become good at it, it's easier to be more relaxed. But you always liked it. Like you wouldn't have continued doing it if you didn't like it on some level. So I don't know. I don't I couldn't really answer the question, how does it feel to be skilled at a certain thing, um, without feeling like I'm skilled. I don't think I am. Um, yeah, that hopefully that rant was satisfying on some level.